very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When we talk about technology in the financial sector, you hear a lot about the fourth industrial revolution, or 4IR, and the fourth industrial revolution technologies. And I'm sure most of you by now understand what this is all about. But I would like just to step a little bit back and tell you that if you look at the other three revolutions and what happened after each revolution, there was some kind of dominance for certain economies over the other economies. And I believe this is an amazing opportunity where basically all the rules get rewritten. And it is a great opportunity for our economies in the Islamic countries to actually play much better role. It's all up to us to decide, do we want to sit and watch other countries dominate and we just follow, just like we did in the previous revolution, or do we want to be leaders in this area? It is very, very critical question for us to answer. I just came from Marrakesh, the city of Marrakesh, where basically we had the annual Islamic Development Bank meetings. And I saw some really interesting projects. They are launching the Business Intelligence Center across all the Islamic countries. I thought that was amazing. They signed an MOU for the 100 banks that are working with the IDB, how to connect those banks. Very interesting initiative. But when I look at, I'm sure most of you saw Apple Card and what they announced about a couple of weeks ago. It's very, very scary stuff. Really, if you look at what is happening in the technology of the IR, you will notice that there's 5 or 6 companies dominating. I'm not going to talk about the fintechs and the countries and the initiatives. Look at the dominance of those 4 or 5 countries in technology, 4 or 5 companies in the technology, and see how they are moving. Blockchain was talked about, and there's a lot of companies doing a lot of things around blockchains, a lot of initiatives. But then you saw Microsoft stepping in and building it as part of their infrastructure. You saw Oracle coming in, and I assure you Amazon and Google and probably Apple will follow. And this is, you want to, hopefully we will not get into another form. I heard in the morning about colonization. I hope we're not getting into another form of economic colonization. The Islamic, when you talk about financial inclusion, 85% of the unbanked live in Islamic countries, sadly. So actually, when you talk about financial inclusion, there is no other countries can actually benefit from technologies that help financial inclusion other than Muslims. And I have the privilege to actually work in a company. We operate in around 40 countries, from Malaysia all the way to South America. And I see the different initiatives, and I believe we're not moving fast enough and we're not working hard enough to actually take these technologies, understand it, educate ourselves about it, and take it to the next step. And I sadly, just to be controversial, I feel that we have so many initiatives. We care about the marketing and the PR of these initiatives than actually what they do on the ground. It is very, very important that we start thinking strategically. We have a short, a medium, and a long-term strategy around this. And when I say long-term, by the way, in our world, long-term is a 5 years strategy. We're not talking about 20 years strategy. So it is very important when we're talking about fintechs, and I am a believer, by the way, that fintechs, to me, has to be a partnership between those startups that you hear about and the banks. The banks still play a very, very important role in the fintechs. They are a great partner, and they have the word trust built into the banks. So I believe 2 or 3 years ago, everybody was talking about fintechs, talking about how this fintechs will take over the bank's business and all that. I think now people are settling down a little bit more, and they're realizing that banks have an amazing role in the ecosystem, and they will continue to play an amazing role in the next probably 20 years or 30 years. Going back to the fintechs and the importance of the fintechs, when we talk about the fintechs, we're talking about an ecosystem. I believe that the time when one institution can do it all, and you have one bank that does all your financials, is gone. And we are moving to a world where we have an ecosystem where we have multiple players playing in that system. And each one, and I heard it in the morning, the most successful financial institutions are the most specialized one. I forgot who said it, but it's very important and true statement. I believe more specialized institutions and companies will come to play in this fintech ecosystem. And when they specialize, they secure their place in this ecosystem. And then we find the conventional ecosystem is being built, and it's getting, all the pieces are coming together. When I look at the Islamic ecosystem, I don't see as much in the Islamic ecosystem is building up, and I believe we have to start focusing on the Islamic ecosystem and how to build it up. Just a couple of final statements about, I heard the Ambassa, and I heard about Africa being a leader in the payment, and actually it is a leader on the payment because it supports even a very primitive phones that are text phones. They're not even smartphones. And the reason for that, it's another huge opportunity for the Islamic world, is most of our countries in Africa and in Asia do not have the traditional connectivity. So basically you don't have inland wires and the copper and all that. So the mobile technologies and the mobile networks actually brought these technologies to very rural areas in Africa. And this is why you will notice that these kind of technologies are very successful, because in a village where they never had a phone, all of a sudden they have a mobile, and you find a person who's a leader in that village. Everybody comes to him, and actually they do their financials through this mobile. So we go back to the financial inclusion and how amazing these technologies can actually play into this space. I believe the opportunity is tremendous for our countries. I believe we are living in very exciting times that we can do so much with it. And but the threat is just as big, and it's up to us. What do we want to do and how we want to act? And that actually will tell what is going to happen in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mohammed. Very inspiring talk. That's great.